Hey, Drew,
Yes.
what do you get when a former Sith assassin and an undercover Jedi go to attack and assassinate a Sith Lord?
A love story.
Well, I was going to say true love, but close
Oh, okay.
enough.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Most awkward love story of all time.
I can't hear you.
Okay.
I'll hear what you said in post. Everyone, welcome back to another Valentine's Day special-tastic episode of Empire Radio. I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Drew.
And we are back with Dark Disciple book review. Yep. And we are recording this a day early so that we can have this episode posted on Valentine's Day for our Valentine's Day special. Because
True. And some people are probably doing stuff tomorrow night
yeah,
with their family or significant other.
but in the Discord we're doing a specially Valentine's Day event.
You guys are?
For single people only, a single people VC hangout. So
Oh, cool. That's fun.
If you're listening to this and you're listening to this before 7 to 9 o'clock Valentine's Day night, Central Standard Time, join the Discord and hang out with
You
all
want
the
to
single
mingle.
people.
There you go.
Too bad Drew
I'm
won't
not
be there.
invited.
You're not
I wasn't invited.
All right, but yes, we are doing Dark Disciple book review. But I did want to give a disclaimer before we do this review, especially if you have not read this book. So this book is not the most family-friendly book. And so obviously everyone has different maturity levels and stuff like that. But if you have not read this book and you are and you are a kid, please don't read this book because there are things in here that you probably shouldn't be exposed to.
Well, isn't it called an adult novel?
It is an adult novel, but there's some
That's what I'm saying. It's an adult novel. So
we've read all the other books we've read are adult novels, and they're not.
they're
the
not
same.
love stories.
They're not. It's kind of there's some things that should not be in the minds of kids. So I was going to say, if you're not 18, don't read this book. But if you want to talk to your parents, go right ahead, and maybe they'll let you. But
Yeah.
as Empire Radio,
adult.
we are not endorsing this as a kid-friendly book. Now, this review will be kid-friendly. We're
Sure.
not going to say anything inappropriate, but this podcast.
So if you want to just sit back, relax, get the meat of the story, the appropriate parts of the story, then you probably don't need to read this book. Well,
Yeah.
we're going to help you out with that. So that's kind of what I feel like a lot of our book reviews are people that don't read these books.
Well, probably.
So, yeah.
But you should be reading the Star Wars books. Now, if you asked me this a few years
ago,
I'd be
Jeremiah.
like, who cares about books? But now that we're doing books on a regular basis now, I really see the hype. So if you're not reading Star Wars books,
you should.
You should. And if you don't like reading, get the audiobooks because
they're amazing.
I listen and read at the same time. Like I follow along in the book. This helps me make sense of things a lot better. So, but if you just want to listen when you're at work to an audiobook, go right ahead. You'll still get the gist of it. It's a lot of fun. So, Drew, as always, we start out. What are your overall thoughts of this book?
Parts of it I loved, and parts of it I just didn't like at all.
Elaborate.
The end of the book I thought was dumb.
What?
Yeah. I really liked a lot of the build-up And then I just think there's so many things that the Jedi just were stupid about towards the end. That was just like, this is dumb.
Okay, but that's the Jedi part. But like the focus on the ending with Ventress and Quinlan. How do you feel about that as the ending?
I'm confused because she's not dead. But then I guess it kind of makes sense. I'm like jumping right into like the ending of the book, honestly. But like, I think there's ways for them to make her not dead.
No, she's dead.
But she's not.
What makes you think she's not dead?
Well, are we getting into that right now?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's go to it.
She's Night's sister. The girl's gonna get revived. Therefore, she's not gonna die.
But she's still dead. She's not gonna be a zombie. And there's no more Night Sisters.
But
she was the last one.
I just don't. Well, that's not true because we see her in Mandalorian or the Ahsoka show, and that's way after the Bad Batch.
What is that? But like, you need someone. but you need someone to raise them from the dead, though.
But didn't they tell us that it's not going to mess up this book?
Yeah. So she's.
So you're just thinking it's a flashback?
Yeah, I think we're gonna get Quinlan Voss in Bad Batch.
Oh. Well, in that case,
it's gonna be a flashback for him, and she doesn't look like a zombie.
Well, she's pale, anyways. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, but they get like green eyes, and they have like the green smoke coming out of them.
True. I don't know. I mean, either way, they could figure it out. That's what I'm saying. I mean, you're right. Like, it could be a flashback, and you know what? It could be an arc on this book. We could literally get an arc about this book.
No.
I mean, who knows? We could.
I don't. They're not gonna do a multi-episode arc on something that's a flashback.
Because this was supposed to be in the Clone Wars.
It was, and based on that, like I don't know how they were gonna do this story in 3-4 episodes.
You guys didn't know this was supposed to be an arc in the Clone Wars.
Yes.
And it got cut. And so the person that was working on this arc in the Clone Wars has like a little bio thing at the end of this book and talks about it.
Well, it's Katie Lucas, George Lucas's daughter, who worked on Clone Wars, and then was involved in helping write this book. I guess
help write. Like, she didn't write the book, but she was involved. But she has like a little bio about her story and about how she was on set for the prequels, and then she was able to work and stuff like that. So like, this was supposed to be her arc in the Clone Wars, and then they were able to let her do this, kind of pitch the story as a book. So like, there's parts of this book I loved. Not my favorite Star Wars book. And I don't think I liked it more than the last High Republic book.
Well, clearly, because you love that one and you're not elated about this, so.
Yeah. So like, well, I'm just like thinking about it. Like, there's characters that I know more in this book, so that kind of was kind of cool to actually, like, Obi-Wan is one of like the third main characters in this book, essentially.
Right.
Which is kind of cool. Yeah. Like, I didn't really think about, like, I didn't see that coming, you know?
Right.
So that was kind of cool. Like, you got a lot of Obi-Wan in the book. You got a lot of Yoda and stuff like that. But like,
and your boy.
My boy.
Boba Fett.
Boy. Oh, yes.
A little bit
as a boy. As a younger kid.
Yeah.
And like, you forget how powerful he was already at that age.
We'll talk about him, but I'm always kind of confused by. There's a lot of things in this book that are like I'm not saying there's continuity issues, but it's like it doesn't fit with like the rest of Clone Wars and stuff.
They made Boba Fett, for instance, like bigger than he was in the Clone Wars show.
Right, because he
was like 12 or something.
He would only be 12 or just before 13 because he would be 13 at the end of Clone Wars, and this is
It feels like it's like right.
This was
before
after
then.
it was after season 5 of Clone Wars. So this is because this would been during season 6 that got canceled.
The back half of season 6.
Yeah, and I can't remember. There was something specific that they referenced that, like, in this book that was like for sure like after season 5, after Ahsoka left. But I can't remember off the top of my head what it was specifically. But like he's only like 12.
Well, was it the fact that Ahsoka wasn't in any of the Jedi stuff?
No, it was something that happened. But like, no, it was the Ahsoka stuff because we see, in that final arc in season 5 when Ahsoka is being on the run, being chased, she interacts with Ventress, and so like obviously
it's after that.
After that, because we don't get any of that, and she dies. So like, there's that. But like,
I liked Ventress's arc. And this is probably like a hot take. I don't really care about her character. Like I've never have. Like for me, like her character was always like a throwaway character to me. So like, I don't know. Like I'm not like, her character is there for me. It's never been one of those characters I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see more Ventress. And I know there's a lot of people out there, and I respect that. And I feel like this book is definitely your book. If you like Ventress at all, this is your book. Like, you see her from her lowest low to her highest high, back down to nothing. And it's a really cool roller coaster for her. Yeah, so like both of the main characters in this book, I wasn't like in love with. But there was a part of the book where you're reading it and you realize, oh, like Ventress is the only one right in this whole story.
Right.
And I like that. I like that as like a reader. Like you're going into this book and you don't like Ventress in the beginning because of all the evil stuff she's done. And it gets to the point in the book where you're like, you love her character. And you are like, dude, listen to her, even though I don't know why you would, but listen to her. Like, so that was a cool, like, way they went about that. So I like that part. I just was never, there's parts in the beginning that I believed the love story, but most of the stuff at the end I didn't believe.
Why? Because
I just felt like she was so adamant. I feel like I'm like telling the entire story.
Well, we haven't gotten there yet, so
she was so adamant about him not being like him being a bad guy, and then she trusted him. Like they went to go assassinate Dooku again, and then she was still okay with Dooku coming with them. And I didn't like that part.
She wasn't okay at all. She was so pissed.
But she didn't do anything about, like,
because they're being chased. Like they're running away, about to get shot and killed by the Republic. Like she had to escape.
But if she would have just left that at that point and not picked them up, then she would have been fine. And she was fighting within herself for the love with him.
But when she went to go pick him up, she didn't know that Dooku was coming with until he jumped on and they left. And then she looks back and he's there. Like they already left.
I would have dropped. I would have landed. I don't know.
There's nothing she could have
done. She didn't try to kill him. He was already injured. Like there's multiple times where, like, it wasn't believable. The way he was lying to her was not believable for me. Because she didn't believe him. Like she knew that he was evil.
You're talking about Quinlan?
Yes. She knew Quinlan was evil and left him for a long enough period of time where Quinlan was accepted back into the Jedi Order, essentially. So there was that part. And then they finally got back to the part, and they're gonna go kill him. He brings him injured and said, "Oh, don't worry about it." And then they're running away from Obi-Wan and Anakin, and like there was nothing in that story. I'm like, girl, just go kill him. But you're believing this stupid dude. Like, how do you not realize that he's bad now at this point? It just bothered me.
Because they're in love, and you trust the person you love more than.
But why didn't she like?
Why did she
It just
what?
wasn't as believable as I wanted it to be. Essentially,
I don't know. When you're in love with someone, you trust
'Cause-
them more than
true.
yourself.
But I felt like she would have loved him right away in the beginning. Then
Beginning
you know
of
what I
what?
mean? When they got him back, and he was telling her, "No, I'm not part." When he was lying to her in the beginning, she didn't believe him then, but then she believed him when Dooku was with them. That didn't make any sense.
What? All right, I'm confused by what beginning.
So he was captured, fell into the dark side, telling the entire story, fell into the dark side. Then he was no longer fell into the dark side because Obi-Wan found him or whatever. Like they couldn't feel the dark side presence, but she could. And then it got to the point where he was lying to her enough, he figured out how to lie to her essentially, so that she couldn't feel it either anymore. And then they went to go assassinate him again, and he didn't do it. Instead, he saved him as he's like dying. He's injured. He has an open wound, and she believed that. It didn't make any sense. And that's what I did. I just didn't understand that part.
Because he says to trust him. And do you understand why he didn't want her to kill Dooku? Or to kill
because
Dooku?
he wanted Dooku to. I understand from his perspective. It made a lot of sense. It just didn't make sense for her character to trust him at this point.
I don't know. I think it's because they're in love. Then she trusted
It
him
is,
because
but
they're in love.
they were in love the whole time. So my thing is, like, she should have believed him in the beginning. It would have been more believable if she, like, believed him right off the bat, in my opinion.
Right, but what you're missing is that Quinlan didn't know that he was in the dark. So he wasn't lying. Yeah, because like he's like, I didn't even know myself that I was in the dark until he was pondering it more and was thinking about it. Then then he realized that he was corrupted. And like when Yoda does, apparently he can
like
senses
brainwashed
people's souls, like
yeah.
the history of a soul or whatever. Like that's when
I forgot about that part. Yeah. So I guess that part was when she was like willing to give him another shot, but then he was still lying the whole time though.
About what?
Or did he fall back into the dark side as soon as he saw Obi-Wan? No, because or as soon as he saw Dooku, but no, because the whole time he was telling Dooku all their plans.
Because he wanted to get back with Dooku so that he could use Dooku to kill Sidious.
Oh, that's not what I thought at all.
That was the whole plan.
I thought the
plan was for him to join Dooku because he knew that he could beat Dooku.
Maybe I missed that part.
Because he did. He technically did beat Dooku. All he had to do was kill Dooku, and he didn't. But his whole plan, the reason why he was telling Ventress to trust me and not kill Dooku right now, is because Dooku and I will go fight Sidious, we'll kill Sidious, and then I'll kill Dooku. That was his whole plan. And it fails.
See, the whole thing was I thought Dooku was going to introduce him to Sidious so that he can become Sidious. I thought he was bad the whole time.
He didn't realize that he was bad until later on, but he was still trying to use Dooku to get to Sidious because he wanted both dead.
I didn't think he wanted to do or Sidious dead. I thought he wanted to become part of with Dooku.
No, that he was lying to Dooku so that he could get to Sidious.
Okay, now that actually all makes sense.
Yeah.
I literally thought he was just lying to Ventress. Like, and he was not lying to Dooku.
No, there was. I
Because
understand.
Dooku
Like, I
said,
was a
like,
little
you
confused
need.
too, but it was he didn't realize that he was corrupted by the dark side when he went back to the Jedi, but then like it kind of like was coming. Like he started to realize it about himself, and then like yeah, he was lying after he realized it, playing along with
Mhm.
like I'm a good guy now, but he was still trying to get back with Dooku so he could join Dooku to kill Sidious, and then he would kill Dooku, and then the Sith are gone.
So he was still good the whole time?
He had good intentions the whole time, even though he was still corrupted by the dark side.
Yeah, that was one thing about this book. I did not like his character when he came bad. Like, I just didn't care about. Like, I didn't like him.
Quinlan?
Yes. Like, I
Why?
was like kind of mad that he didn't die
Why?
because I didn't trust. Like, I don't know.
But you knew he didn't die though, because he's alive during the Obi-Wan show.
Oh yeah, he is. I forgot
Yeah.
about that.
Okay. So you gave your thoughts that you didn't really like the book that much, other than a few
Yeah,
parts.
I liked it. I like that you just told me that because I finished it today. So maybe
You were binge reading that so fast. I feel like if
I
you
did.
read it slower, you would
Probably.
have
I
comprehended
didn't
it
have a lot
better.
of time.
You were like
But
at 1.7 speed or something like that.
yeah.
That's fast, dude.
So like yeah, I was like reading it fast. I also like I read half of it last week and then the rest of it today. Or no, I read it over the weekend a little bit and then I finished like I had like an hour left today. Which was probably like 3 hours technically or something.
So I will say, okay, for my overall thoughts, I think that it starts out pretty slow, but it gets better and better as you go on. And when I'm like trying to, I'm kind of forgetting. I forgot to go over my notes before, so I'm kind of like trying to remember. I just finished it a few days ago. But like when he goes back to the Jedi, and there's that question of is he good or is he bad? Because Ventress says like she sensed that he's evil, but the Jedi was like, no, there's no darkness in him. Like, and then like they're going on missions and like things are going bad. And, like the whole like is he bad or is he good? Like what's going on? That was like the tension made it really enjoyable for me because I was like, I don't know if Quinlan's evil or if he's
I knew
good.
he was evil the whole time.
Like I didn't know, but like now it's super ambiguous by the end because it's like he was corrupted by the dark side, but he had good intentions, which is kind of like Dooku anyway. He had good intentions when he turned to the dark side, but now he turned completely evil. But like I like the book more and more as it went on. And like you said earlier, like Ventress's story, I like that we got more of her story and that like her as a complete story arc, I think was really cool. Like her journey out of the dark side was cool. And how like she made a choice to not be consumed by the dark side, even though she was kind of like a mean person anyway. But like wasn't consumed by dark side. She kind of just knew how to like touch the line and then not let it
crossed it.
But like I thought that was really cool, and then how she kind of wrote her own destiny of like because she was kidnapped as a kid, and she was trained by a Jedi where they were stranded on a planet, and Master got killed, and then she gets taken by Dooku and is used, and then thrown off to the side, like all this stuff. Like she has a tragic story, but then she's able to kind of like find peace in the end, that she wasn't consumed by the dark side. Like she took joy in that when she was dying.
Yeah.
And so like I like Ventress's character. Like I always have like these ideas for like video essays I want to do, and I want to like make a video about how Ventress and Satine are the two most important characters in the Clone Wars series.
Oh.
It's like Ventress's character is more important to the overall story of the Clone Wars than a lot of people realize. But like, so I like hearing that, and then like I was like a fan of Quinlan. Like he has only like one arc in Clone Wars, I think, which is referenced in this book. But he goes on a mission with Obi-Wan, and he's just a cool character because for those of you who don't know, they kind of like took a character from the Phantom Menace that was in the background and was like, we're just gonna make this guy a Jedi. So like you see Quinlan Vos in episode 1 on Tatooine sitting at a little like table outside, and like
Which, are
he's
we gonna go watch that together?
oh yeah, because it's gonna be in theaters on
Yeah, if you
May
guys didn't
3rd.
know, episode
Phantom
1 is gonna
Menace.
come out May 3rd weekend for like a month.
For a month? I thought it was just for the weekend. It was for
it's
a
like
month.
until like. No, I don't think it's just for that weekend. I think it's for like maybe a week. I don't know, but May 4th is on Saturday, Jeremiah.
I got work.
Yeah, but we could go after you get off work.
We could. That'd be fun.
It's Star Wars Day for me, so
Let's have Andrew fly into Minnesota and we could go watch it all together.
that'd be cool. But we should go do that. And if you guys are listening, you're from Minnesota,
Ooh, maybe we could do
a small meetup, like a little tiny one.
get some Tanner action. Who else is in Minnesota that
I don't know. Well, Daddy
Yeah,
Palps,
people-
but he just had a baby. Which, congrats, Daddy
Yes,
Palps.
Congrats, Daddy Palps, if you're listening. Baby number 3.
He's a girl dad.
Is it all 3 girls?
All 3 girls.
Oh, dang, dude.
And this last one, like, okay, if you guys don't know, I'm like friends with Daddy Palps, but like this last one, they went in blind. They didn't want to know.
Oh, so when it came out, they're like, oh, it's a girl.
They're like,
Oh, dang.
a girl again. So yeah,
that guy needs a boy. he's definitely needs a boy someday. So who knows if they're Daddy Palps, if you have more kids, we're hoping for a boy.
Just for you, but I don't know if he's gonna have any more.
But yes, maybe we could do that. Maybe there's probably some people in like Wisconsin and stuff that are like maybe like could drive over for like weekend.
Yeah, it's only February, so we got a little bit of time. So let us know in the Discord. Let Jeremiah know. May 4th. You'll probably go to like a 7:00 showing or something. That'd be really cool. That was like one of the first Star Wars movies I saw in theaters, and at that time, I'm pretty sure we were both still going to the same church. So,
well, we would have 2000.
2000. No,
Sorry, I'm thinking of Attack of Clones. 99. So yeah,
yeah, 99.
But I can't remember what the first Star. I know I saw Revenge of the Sith, but I don't remember if I saw the previous 2. I don't think I did.
Remember that someone at our church was complaining about this movie, and my dad didn't want to go, but I begged my dad to go, and then we watched it. So I think this was the first Star Wars movie I saw in theaters.
Cool.
So I think it'll be really cool to go. Maybe I can convince Steph to let Miles go for his first movie.
Oh, dude, nah.
It'll be hard.
Dude. We gotta just enjoy it.
That's true. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I'll go the night before with him and test it out.
But yeah, what were we talking about? Quinlan Vos. So yeah, I always was intrigued by his character, and I like that we get more backstory about him, and then seeing him, and then knowing that he's still alive in Obi-Wan time. I want to know where he is, because it makes more sense, because he's known as a Jedi who goes undercover, so it's easy for him to hide himself and not to reveal that he's a Jedi. So it makes sense to why he survived Order 66, and he's kind of on the run, and he's helping Jedi. He knows how to navigate being undercover. So that's really cool. So I liked his story. And so I want to know more. So I'm hoping that in Bad Batch, we get him, and that's how we get Ventress's a flashback with Ventress. I think that'd be really cool. Because like I said, we don't got a lot of information about Quinlan, so having him in media form again, visual form, would be cool.
Which would be really cool if it is like a little flashback.
Yeah.
Like somehow they can tie in the Bad Batch in the corner or something.
Yeah, it'll be fun. But it took a half hour for us to do our overall thoughts. But so we might as well just go do the overall summary of the book. So the story starts out with separatists committing genocide on a planet. Dooku just kills everyone on this planet for not wanting to join the separatists. And so then the Jedi Council are discussing this, and was it Mace Windu who suggested the assassination?
I want to say yes, but I
think
also
it
kind of want
was.
to say it was Yoda.
No, I don't think it was Yoda. I think it was Mace Windu. But like Mace Windu, whoever it was, they're like, Dooku is responsible for so much chaos. Like, we need to assassinate him. Like, we have to kill him. And then the Jedi are like, oh, I don't know. Again, this whole book, Obi-Wan is speaking against the Jedi Council, which
Mhm.
I
I really
really,
liked it.
I really liked
And
Obi-Wan's.
Mace Windu was wild in this whole book. Tell you
Dude,
what,
he was angry.
I did not
Yell.
like him at all in this book.
I know. Like, I felt like he was way worse than he is in the rest of the Clone Wars and stuff, because he's always like pretty critical and he's all about following the rules. But here he was just very like,
I think he was tired of war
I
at this
guess, but
point.
he was just like angry and like he didn't care. Like he's like, I don't know. He just
Kill them
hated.
all. Kill them all. Like,
Yeah, like he was just, I don't know. He was just weird. He was just kind of annoying.
yeah, his character was built to be annoying in this book.
Right.
And the accent that he had in the audiobook was hilarious.
Yeah.
I didn't really
Yeah.
like it.
It sounded like Samuel L. Jackson, not
Yeah.
Mace Windu. We'll say that. But like, which I guess makes sense, but
It was interesting.
I don't know. I feel like Mace Windu's character is very, it changed, like his the way he talks and the way he like presents is very, very different throughout the movies and the animated stuff. Like I feel like it's his character didn't have a lot of good direction. How about
I'm
that?
really interested to see what this book is about him, the canon one.
Yeah, we'll be doing that at the end of the summer sometime when it comes out. So I'm excited
Unless the show
because
comes out.
it's about, so the story is about something after Qui-Gon dies. Qui-Gon left a message for him to like go on a mission.
Mm,
So like he's doing something on behalf of Qui-Gon after he died or
that's
something
pretty
like
cool.
that. So, but anyway, the story. So they want the assassination of Count Dooku. The Jedi Council wants to order this, and they're like, who should do it? And they pick Quinlan Vos because he goes on undercover missions. He could definitely blend in somehow to like get close to Dooku and then assassinate him. But then they're like, well, this needs to be a 2-person job. And I believe it was Obi-Wan that was like, well, he needs to go with Ventress, because Ventress is the closest person that we know that could know how he works and the way he does things and where he could be and how to get in. And I thought it was funny when they're like, who are we going to have with Quinlan? And right away, Anakin's like, pick me, pick me, pick me. I'll go. I thought that was kind of funny. And so, but they choose to like go with Ventress. And so, but it's like they don't like recruit Ventress to do this. Like Quinlan has to find Ventress and somehow convince her to take him to go assassinate Count Dooku. So what Quinlan ends up doing is he pretends he's a bounty hunter and goes to level. Do you remember what level they're on?
1313.
1313, and he goes down there and he runs into a lot of our favorite bounty hunters. Boss was down there, Imbo, Boba Fett's there, and then some of the other ones there are there. And so this through conversation, he gets like a tip on where Ventress is going to be next. He tracks down Ventress, he interferes with one of her bounties that she's trying to get, and then he convinces her for him to tag along with her, even though she's a solo artist in a sense. But he works his way in. They do a bunch of missions together. Like, seems like months pass by doing missions, and they are a good team, good duo. They're very successful at being bounty hunters and splitting the money and all that stuff. And then as they get closer, and he ends up telling her that he is a Jedi, and she's like, I know, I kind of figured it out, because they go on this one big mission to like rescue, rescue the family.
Oh yes.
Of Spice. What's the species? The miners on Kessel.
The Pikes.
The Pikes, and like the leader of the Pikes, like his family gets taken by one of the crime syndicates, and
But didn't they go on like assassin thing before, and she kind of figured it out there too?
I think she mentioned it, but like she mentioned like during this rescue mission is when like you should have. There's no way you could have been able to jump that and
because there was like a time where like the kid fell.
Yeah, and
he had to use the force to pull the kid to him.
Like I don't think she saw him use the force, but like he had to like jump down with the kid, and she's like, "There's no way you could have made that jump if you weren't a Jedi or whatever." So, like they go on this mission, they rescue this family, and then he reveals to her that he's a Jedi undercover, and then explains the plan. And she's like, "It's impossible. Like, there's no way you're a Jedi. You're not strong enough to take him." He's like, well, what needs to happen? I was like, well, you need to use the dark side. You can't defeat Dooku without using the dark side. And so they end up going...
Which is kind of right, because Anakin kind of used the dark side too.
Kind of like
to kill, I guess.
Well, to kill, but like when he fought Dooku, like Dooku was taunting him. I think a little bit. He was like, I feel.
Well, and Palpatine, remember Palpatine was like, "Do it, do
that
it."
too. But like, so Anakin was able to defeat him without being like consumed by. He was able to cut off his hands, like.
Sure, yeah.
But like, Venture's like, if we're gonna do this, you gotta like do it my way. And so they go to Dathomir, where it's a lot of dark force, side of the force, energy and stuff. And she's training him, like they're like running up mountains and doing all like crazy stuff to like build his physical strength. But then like she tries to like train him in the dark side, like by killing like an animal, like just an innocent animal, just kill it just with anger or whatever. And so they're doing all this stuff, and then they get a lead on where Dooku's gonna be, but like Ventress is like, you're not strong enough yet. Like, and like on Dathomir, I guess I don't remember this, but I guess like the witches have to like go down into this underground cave and like fight this monster down there to like get
in
like
water.
That's like go through into the water, but then you gotta like jump on the land like in an underground thing, and then you have to like get part of one of its scales or something, and then bring it back, and then you use that to like make a potion, and that makes you like you drink the potion that makes you full on.
Is that the potion they pull in like the bowl thing?
Maybe. I reading this book, I'm like, I gotta rewatch Clone Wars. There's so much stuff
or just Ahsoka too.
That too. But so he's able to fight this monster, and Ventress forces him to kill it rather than just, take a scale or whatever it was, and to push him to even fight harder and use the dark side more. But then they go.
But remember, they're training for a while before he went. What was the name of that beast?
The Sleeper?
Yeah. And they weren't. She also rushed him to kill him at that point too, like to go that far. She wanted to go slower, but they found they found Dooku's location.
Yeah, they kind of
had to rush.
Right. So there's that.
Also, I don't know if you mentioned the reason why the Jedi were okay with him working with Ventress was because Ventress has already attempted to assassinate Dooku twice. So they knew that she had a lot of hatred towards Dooku. Because they mentioned that. Like Obi-Wan mentioned that.
Did he mention it or did she? I thought she just mentioned it because I don't think the Jedi knew that she did those things.
No, he mentioned that. He mentioned that was the reason why. Because they're like, why would he? She's like a bad guy. Like she's evil and
but
she's on the run.
How would they have known about those assassination attempts?
I don't know. I just read the book.
I don't think they said it. I think it's just said in the book by her.
I swear I thought Obi-Wan said it.
I know, like he talked about like how she hates him and would have resentment and would have motivation to kill Dooku.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's because they knew, because the first one was with her Night Sisters when they like cloak themselves and they're like invisible, and it's like Dooku against Asajj and 2 other witches, which is a cool lightsaber fight. I like that fight. And then when she trains Savage to like become Dooku's assassin and then have used Savage so they could both kill Dooku, which failed also. So I don't know how the Jedi would know about that, about both of those.
Maybe I was wrong. I just
don't
thought
know.
that.
I would have to. I don't know. There's so many like little details in this book
Mm-hmm.
because like they're trying to like make it accessible to an audience that hasn't watched Clone Wars.
Yeah, and it is. You could read this book and not really know anything, and
yeah,
it's fine.
But yeah, so they track down Dooku at this party. He's getting honored. He's basically getting like a Nobel Peace Prize type thing,
essentially, yeah,
which is kind of funny. But like they blend in, they get in. Ventress goes up to Dooku at this party. She's like basically like, meet me at the flagpole after school at 3:15 and we're gonna fight, basically. And so Quinlan's there, but Grievous is there. So Quinlan has to like trap Grievous so he doesn't help Dooku. And then Ventress would have Dooku come to this balcony, and then Quinlan would come and they would fight Dooku. Which I thought this was a cool scene where because like this whole they're fighting on this castle balcony, and then like fireworks are going off. There's like parties going around down below. It's like basically the Great Gatsby party in the background while they're doing this fight up on top of this balcony. I thought it would be cool to.
It would be a cool scene cool scene to see.
Yeah, but so they're fighting, and Quinlan's doing pretty good. Ventress gets yeeted off the balcony, and Quinlan like defeats him, but then Dooku uses Force Lightning, and then Grievous shows up and all this stuff. And
Grievous was the reason why it was kind of
yeah. So then, Dooku sees how good of a fighter he was, just without having very little experience with the dark side. And he's kind of basically, I could use you for some greater things, and takes Quinlan while Ventress is gone. And so she's like, sees him taken, and she runs and flees. And so Quinlan's like, did she just leave me? I don't know. She's gone. And then she goes back to Coruscant because during this book, Quinlan he has to go check in with Obi-Wan about progress. And so Ventress knows about this apparently. And so she goes to their meeting point and sits down next to Obi-Wan and says, Dooku has him now. And that scene was so sad.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was a really intense scene when she shows up next to Obi-Wan and Obi-Wan looks over and she's like, he's Dooku's now, or whatever she said.
And then like they didn't even like say anything else. They just like drank together.
They just sat there at the bar, which was it was a really good scene. Then after that, they go to the council together to say what happened, and
They do a mission to get him out.
They go like, I'm like forgetting all these like details now. So like, because so when before she goes to Dooku or goes to Obi-Wan, she has the failed mission with the bounty hunters, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
before she can go
Right.
before she goes to Obi-Wan, tells him that he's been taken by Dooku.
Correct.
She takes basically all of her money that she's made and goes to Boba and all his crew. But hey, I'll pay all of you. It's a rescue mission,
And Boba hates her, by the way,
right?
because they did
And
a mission together, and she betrayed Boba essentially.
yeah, and so it's like Boba and Imbo and Bosk and these other guys. They're all working together to get a rescue mission, and so they go. They're basically the distraction outside, fighting Dooku's castle at Dooku's castle or whatever. And Ventress goes in by herself to go get Quinlan. And that scene was chapter 25. This is when I said this was like one of the best chapters I've ever read. Like her confronting Quinlan when he's been tortured.
Well, and the reason why it failed too is because before this, Quinlan had a master,
Yes.
and she killed his master. Well, a way for her to get him to go even darker in the dark side was to like lie to him and say that Dooku was the one that killed his master.
Right. That
Because
would
he
fuel
wasn't
his
there.
hate. Because that would fuel Quinlan's hate for Dooku.
So and if you guys don't know, Quinlan has the ability where he can touch stuff and read it, like pretty much see the scene of what happened before, kind of like Ahsoka.
It's like he can see the history of an item.
Yeah. So Dooku was like, yeah, like between his minions, they kill the Jedis and they bring me their trophy, which is the dark or the sabers, the hilts, the lightsabers. So he had his lightsaber there, and so the whole time he was like, yeah, he had his master's lightsaber there. So he opens up this box and it has all these sabers from fallen Jedis, and said, "Here's this is your master's Jedi or saber. Like, touch it, and you'll find out that I didn't kill." And then he's like, "No, I don't believe you. You're manipulating me. You're lying to me. This is not real." And he's like, I know everything about you. He knew that he had that ability. And so he pretty much like doesn't make him do it because he has to be willing to do it. So like there's like a scene where he was gonna like make it the droid pull his hand to the saber and touch it, but it's still under his own thing. So then he said something, I don't remember what he said. He didn't call like Dooku's mom's fat or something. I don't know. You like, I'm just kidding. But he like said something to Dooku and got him all riled up. And Dooku threw him into the cell with the saber. And he's like, I'm not going to touch it. He's like, oh, you will.
Right.
So
that happens and we kind of we don't know what Quinlan does. And then we go to this mission where Ventress goes to rescue. And so she finds him because he's been being tortured over and over again. All this stuff, and she goes to the cell, and he's in there, and he's just like in a terrible
back facing the cell. So
yeah, so like she goes in and is like, Quinlan, I'm here to rescue, and basically, and he turns around and he has yellow Sith eyes, and he's basically like, I know you killed my master and all this stuff, and
he's holding the saber,
and like Ventress is pleading with him to like be rescued and to leave and all this stuff. And like, there's a moment where like his Sith eyes go away and like it's Quinlan again, but then it consumes him again and he tries to kill Ventress. And she's just kind of like defending herself by leaving, like walking backwards to get out and to escape. And she gets out of the building where all the bounty hunters are, and they capture Dooku. Like Dooku goes out there to fight these bounty hunters, and we just find out that they captured him. Like, we didn't get to see that. I wish we could see that cool fight,
Yeah.
Dooku against all these bounty hunters, and then Dooku gets caught. But then, she gets out, and then Quinlan comes out, and then crap hits the fan, and then they escape. But then Quinlan goes and releases Dooku, and while they're flying away, Ventress sees Dooku and Quinlan standing next to each other like they're master and apprentice. Like, that has to be. I want to see that in live action, dude.
So I'm saying it would be dope if like they started the season Bad Batch with that arc for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
First 3 episodes is 40 minutes long each, and it's just this arc.
That'd be kind of crazy.
And then like somehow they figured out a way to have the Bad Batch like interact with it or something. I don't know.
Like they were in
that last battle scene.
They were in that fight scene. Like they were like on their own mission on that same planet. And like they see the bounty hunters fighting Dooku, and then the Bad Batch go in there and they help rescue, and then they get out. Like, that'd be
that'd be cool.
But I don't know. But yeah, so then that's when. So then she is able to escape with the bounty hunters, and then that's when she goes to Obi-Wan and says that Quinlan is Dooku's now, and that was super sad. And so then they go to the Jedi Council. Obi-Wan brings her to the Jedi Council. So I'm trying to forget, how did they rescue Quinlan though? Again, because like if you rescue Quinlan, you'll be pardoned for all your crimes against the Republic.
Yeah, that's how they got her to be willing to do it, because at this point she was just not gonna do it.
I forget, what was the rescue mission? I forget.
What was it?
Yeah, how did they rescue Quinlan?
So at this point too, you forgot to mention that there was videos.
Oh yeah, because Dooku created Admiral Enigma.
Yeah,
and this was Quinlan going on missions and wreaking havoc
and killing Jedi and
like propaganda and like all these things.
So like they knew that was him, and so like Obi-Wan pretty much pleaded with the Jedi Council and was like, "Hey, like let's try to get him. Like maybe he's just brainwashed. Like I don't know." And so their plan was to get her to help. So,
but what was the mission? Gosh, this is bad.
I don't remember. Like, and I read it like yesterday.
I gotta go get my notes. Like,
well, you have it written down?
I take notes for every chapter that I do because I always want to go back. So, how about this?
You know what would help us remember?
A cup of coffee.
A cup of coffee right now.
And while you're listening to this cup of coffee, I'm going to go get my notes. So, take a listen from our sponsor for today, Wesley Andrews Coffee and Tea.
Hey everyone, Andrew here. I'm pleased to tell you that the sponsor of today's episode is Wesley Andrews Coffee and Tea. If you don't know anything about Wesley Andrews, you definitely should. They're an award-winning coffee roaster and shop in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they make fantastic coffee. The awesome thing is that whether you live in the Twin Cities or not, you can get their coffee beans delivered straight to your door by ordering them online. They even have a subscription service that ensures you never run out of amazing coffee. If you've been looking for some new coffee to try or a way to elevate your normal coffee routine, now's your chance. Head over to wesleyandrews.cc, use the code EMPIRERADIO, that's with a capital E and a capital R with no space at checkout, to get 15% off your first purchase of any bags of coffee or a coffee subscription. I can't think of a better deal. Get 15% off some great coffee, support a small business, and support your favorite Star Wars podcast. In the words of Emperor Palpatine, do it.
Do it.
Do it.
All right, so I got my notes.
Oh, nice.
Lucky.
Real quick, I want to do a quick PSA and apologize to my parents. Because when I went to go get some coffee, finger quotes, I went to the bathroom and get water. I stepped on Legos and my feet hurt so bad. So I want to say sorry to my parents for never picking up my Legos. And if you're a kid out there, you're listening to this podcast, pick up your Legos and apologize to your parents. because stepping on Legos in the dark is the worst pain of all time. So yeah, that's my little random.
Alright.
I stubbed my toe on the table. Oh my! Yeah, it was
And it's
rough.
so weird because if you step like on like a rock, like it
Is that-
hurts.
yeah.
It's not that bad. But when you step on a Lego, for some reason,
It was a car Lego too, so I like almost wiped out on top of
like
it.
like a cartoon,
I literally
like
did that,
on
and
a
then I
banana.
stubbed my toe. Oh my! It was a rough time right now. My
All
feet
right,
are killing me.
cool.
So,
All right. Anyway, so we got the story. So the rescue mission. So they find out like through their intel and stuff what ship this Admiral Enigma is on, and so they go. So Ventress, Anakin, and Obi-Wan sneak onto this ship and to go get this Enigma, Admiral Enigma, who is Quinlan Vos. And so they go there.
I forgot little Annie was there.
Of course, Annie was there. He was so eager to go on all these missions. But so they go, okay, where is he going to be? So he's going to be on the brig or whatever. They go up there. And guess what? He's not there, but who is? Dooku.
Yeah, I remember that.
So then, like, they're fighting Dooku, and they're like trying to figure out like where he is and shit. Like, I think Ventress is like on the computer, like trying to figure out where he is. She's like, he's in like
He's still in the cell.
he's like so like captured. Like, oh, he's not. They're just using him as propaganda. Blah blah blah. So like that's the one thing that I'm not sure about is
I was gonna ask you, do we know if that was really propaganda or was
I don't know if Quinlan was actually this Admiral Enigma. I think they just photoshopped him in.
I think he actually did it.
I don't know. Like we don't know. That's the thing. Like it
I
portrays that he
think he
did,
did it.
but then it also portrays that like he was just still captured and not doing anything.
But like at this moment is well, I mean, we'll get there. This is when she realizes that he was actually part of the dark side.
Yes, or at least right after.
Right
Like,
after they get
I
him.
can't remember if it was in this chapter or if it was the next chapter once they're freed. But like she immediately finds out that senses that she's being
So
used by
I
the dark
think
side.
he was the whole time, and I think this was all an act.
Well, I think he was in the dark side, but I don't think he was Admiral Enigma. I think they just.
So this is why I wish Andrew was here.
I think it's meant to be ambiguous. Like
But
we don't know.
wouldn't it make sense, like, for Dooku to let them get him?
I don't know.
Because they found him like hanging essentially in the cell, and he has like whip wounds. Like it literally says in the chapter that Dooku went back to traditional,
Like torture methods.
tortured methods. But was my throat like my I can't talk right now.
Thought process.
That word was that because she realized that he was bad, that he was still part of the dark side. She could sense it. Do you think that that was all just a ploy so Dooku could learn the plans from him? And then by him being part of the Jedi again, he realized what he's doing.
That's the thing. It could literally go either way. That they allowed him to be captured again or to be rescued so that he could be a mole. But
Because like they explain this whole fighting scene with Dooku, and then it gets to the point where Anakin's like, "I'll take him," and then he like dives off this like part of the ship with Dooku, and they're just fighting, and you don't know what's happening, and
Yeah,
Obi-Wan
so-
leaves
'cause-
Anakin alone to fight Dooku, and
Yeah,
it's
so-
just like,
which is interesting. So, like every time I'm watching except in the Clone Wars, like every single time I see Anakin fight Dooku, I'm like, I think of Revenge of the Sith when he's like, my powers have doubled since the last time we fought. So before the Clone Wars, we
that
think
was
it's
the last.
that was episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
But then you see him fight him a few different times in the Clone Wars. Like, oh no, that was the last time. No, that was the last time.
Is this
now reading
this is the
this-
last time?
This is the last time. This was during season 6, in quotation, season 6 of Clone Wars.
And what's weird about that too is that like in that scene in episode 3, Obi-Wan's like, all right, we'll take them together this time. And Anakin's like, yes, let's take them together.
Which again, he was by himself. So like,
I guess, yeah, it makes sense. It's just kind of like funny.
so it's just because like because before reading this book, would have been, I think it was when Obi-Wan like had his face altered or whatever and was undercover and like they tried to like capture get Dooku or whatever, and like Anakin fights Dooku in that at the end of that arc, like in a castle or something.
And he was by himself.
He was by himself.
Oh, so maybe
and Obi-Wan wasn't there. I think Obi-Wan showed up later, but like that fight was really cool because Anakin
like, do you think in this
almost
time,
beats him again.
Yeah, but do you think this time Anakin and Obi-Wan could have just killed him right there in that spot? And she was there too. Like,
I don't know,
they
dude.
go there to rescue him, but like they could have just assassinated Dooku, and like that was the original plan. And it's Anakin, Ventress, and Obi-Wan. Like, why wouldn't they just kill him? Like, that was one thing that kind of bothered me. I'm like, well, Dooku, okay, just kill him right now. Then you have like literally the 2 best people to do it, and you have Ventress. You guys are there. Just do it.
They could have, but I guess.
But they're too focused on rescuing.
One, it was like they weren't ready. They weren't expecting it. So it's like they were caught off guard. But like, still, I get what you're saying.
Like, this is kind of like. Because then later on, they're like, yeah, let's go assassinate him again. And it's just like, what? Could you guys have done this in the first place?
But yeah. So anyway, yeah. So the 3 of them were in the room with Dooku, but then they find where Quinlan Vos was being held. So Ventress and Obi-Wan go to him while Dooku and Anakin are fighting. And so when they find Quinlan, he's in a cell, but he's like normal. Like, he's not like evil. He's not angry. He doesn't have Sith eyes anymore.
He's hanging, and they talked about like when they released his stuff, like his arms were heavy and he was so weak. And
yeah, and so like he's like, no, it's the real me. Like, I'm not in the dark side. Like, like blah blah blah. Like, and so this is like Ventress, because I even have in my notes, Ventress doesn't believe him.
Yeah, she didn't believe him right away.
But then then Ventress tries to kill Vos.
Because you remember that Ventress, Obi-Wan's like, no, I do not sense anything. He's normal. Like, they had a conversation.
Yeah. And so like she tries to kill Vos, but then Obi-Wan is protecting Quinlan Vos, which is interesting. And but then the 4 of them with, the 3, Ventress, Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Quinlan, they then run and escape.
It wasn't like the thing crashing or something. Or no, more droids were coming.
Yeah, more droids.
So they're like, they started like, Obi-Wan was like fighting Ventress essentially to not kill Vos, and all of a sudden more like droids start coming. They can hear them, and then they're pretty much like fighting, but like as they're running essentially, and then it gets to the point where like Ventress is just running, and they're just running away.
Yeah. So then, they officially rescued Quinlan, and
Anakin just pops out of nowhere too.
Yeah, and so then they go to the council, and the council grants Ventress a full pardon on all of her crimes, and she's a free woman. Like, they're not going to hold her against anything, which I really like Yoda in this book, like how well he treated her. Like, he just in the moment treated her as a person and not looking down on her even. So I like that about Yoda in this book. I think he was fairly wise in this book, even though he accepted the decision to like do an assassination, which is against the Jedi way. But
Yeah,
I like
but
how he treated
he like
Ventress.
treated her like I wonder he probably knows the story about how she got to that point.
Yeah.
Like he probably knew that she was like kidnapped and her Jedi Master died and like all that stuff. So like he probably like understands her struggle and like realizes that she's no longer part of Dooku and she was betrayed by her master again. So like he kind of understands that she was like brainwashed essentially and has come out of that. So like the whole time like everyone else is like, no, why would we do this? Like we're not gonna grant her that. And then like Yoda was like, no, we said that. Like we're gonna do that.
Yep. And even like after the fact, like when they interact with her again, like they don't want to believe her, and Yoda's like, no, like she's been fully pardoned, and then the rest of the council's like, yeah, you're right.
But she did make like in that part, she's like, I'm not going to like in her mind thinking in the book, she was like thinking to herself that she's not gonna bring that up because they're not gonna listen to her anyways. And like she's like, I just like there's no point to even like say that he is still like she gave up on him essentially. Like he's part of the dark side, and she was like, I'm not going to tell the Jedi cancel that because they're not gonna believe me anyways. She's and I think she was like afraid that she was just gonna get thrown in jail or whatever. Like they just weren't gonna believe her.
Right.
So she didn't even mention it to them. She only mentioned it to Obi-Wan.
Yeah. So when Voss is back, like we've been saying, like the only person that sensed darkness in him was Ventress, but all the Jedi Council were like, no, there's no darkness in him. Like he's good. Like yeah, he needs to go through a recovery because obviously he was just tortured for however many months or whatever it
Well,
was.
and they knew that her and Ventress had a love relationship.
Right. That
Like
came
they
up.
knew that, so they had to fix that with him too.
Right. So he was being in a recovery program type of thing, and then at some point he's going on small missions. I don't think it really mentioned what it was, but it was very low risk, low priority missions or whatever. And so then,
Did he go on missions and stuff before Yoda read his mind or after?
before, because
Oh yeah.
it was after the two big missions that they went on where conveniently things went wrong.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then he has that meeting with him and then senses that he is touched by the dark side. But they go on these two big missions. Like once they feel like, okay, he's ready for a big mission, they go on these two bigger missions. One was like a supply hideout in a giant asteroid that they discovered, and like we're gonna go there, get these supplies so we can use these for ourselves because the Separatists have all these supplies and hoarding it for themselves. Like it would be a big blow to them. So they go there. They're inside this giant asteroid, and they're gonna start like unloading all this stuff. And then Quinlan's like, it's rigged. It's a bomb. It's going to explode in 3 minutes. And everyone runs, escapes. No one dies. Everyone's good. It's like, okay, that's weird. I guess this separatist has booby-trapped it, whatever. But then they go to another mission where there's like a listening post somewhere that the separatists have. They go there, and it's completely abandoned. And there's nothing there. And I guess we're 2 missions in a row. And then that's like when the council was a little worried, like he could be working for Dooku still. He's just pretending to be good. Like we don't know, blah blah blah.
Like
So
when has our intel been this wrong or whatever?
yeah, so this is when Yoda does it. So Quinlan, he can touch an object and know its history. Apparently, occasionally Yoda has been able to touch like a person, like touch a person's soul, and know if it's what its history is. And so he had like a meditation time with Quinlan, and he was able to sense in that moment that Quinlan was consumed by the dark side. Now, like we discussed earlier, we don't know how much of this Quinlan was like aware of. Like to me, it seems like he did not know that he was being influenced by a dark side. But I think Drew, you were saying earlier that he was lying the whole time about knowing.
Yeah, I just don't. I
But
think he was, but
like either way, he was consciously trying to find a way to get back to Dooku so that he could join Dooku and then fight and kill Sidious, and then he could kill Dooku. So like either way, whether knew he was touched by dark side or not, he was still having the same plan. So
mhm.
so the way the Jedi Council wanted to test Dooku or test Quinlan was to see if we were to send him to go assassinate Dooku again, and he went to Dooku, would he join Dooku, or would he try and kill him?
Yeah.
And that was how they were going to test. And while but they were like,
But this entire time, he like was slowly seeing Ventress kind of on the side. And
yeah, they were kind of talking, and like he's like I'm not like I'm good. Like I've been doing these missions with the Jedi Council. Like yeah, I lied to you about whatever it was. But like because this is like where it was like he was lying to himself about the dark side. Like he didn't want to like acknowledge it, but like he's like now I realize that I've been touched by a dark side, but like I know that now, and so like I can go on these last few missions with the council for the Jedi, and then once I do those, we can run off together and just be ourselves. Like I'll leave the Jedi. Like that was like his thing, and she believes him or whatever. And so, but so they go to send Voss on this assassination attempt, but like Anakin and Obi-Wan were going to be there to watch, but Quinlan wouldn't know that they were there.
yes, they're hiding.
And so, which was kind of confusing when they go on this, because like I thought that they were inside droids. They're hiding inside droids, but apparently they just like walked behind the droids, and like was hiding and let the droids make open doors for them, and then
And they like hid under
I thought
a table.
they were each inside a B2 battle droid. Because like the voice that was like not the normal B1 battle droid voice, it was a lot lower, so I thought it was the B2, and that they were just inside them. Because like Anakin had like a voice modulator, but I guess that was just for his remote control B1 that he was talking through. I don't know. I was confused, but anyway, so they go on this mission. So Ventress is the one who takes Quinlan to the ship that Dooku's on, and then Obi-Wan and Anakin follow behind.
Well, and he somehow convinced her to just be a pickup.
Right.
Like she didn't go in and fight Dooku, which was the original plan.
Right. And so with the help of these battle droids that Anakin and Obi-Wan have, they go to Dooku's like office or quarters or whatever in hopes to like catch Dooku and Quinlan's interaction. And they go and there's watching, and then they fight. So Dooku and Quinlan is able to defeat Dooku, but then he kind of has his own I'm just going over my notes. That Voss wants to be Sidious's master. Like he says, like I want to defeat you, and then that way I'll be Sidious's master or apprentice. And Dooku's like, no, that's not how that works. You don't get to choose to be Darth Sidious's apprentice. Like one, you have to be invited to like talk.
You have to be introduced.
And so like it doesn't work like that. He's like, but what we can do is we can fight together, and like I can like bring you to Sidious, and then that's how they can like fight. And so this is like now we're like still like is Ventress is there's too many V's. Is Voss like a bad guy here, or is he a good guy? Is he? Because I'm like, he could go either way. So it's like this whole second half of this book is like, what
You
is it
don't
going
trust
on?
him, essentially.
You don't trust him, but then you do trust him, but you don't. It goes back and forth, and so, so when this happens, Anakin and Dooku
Anakin and Obi-Wan get out from under the desk, essentially.
And they start like fighting them or whatever, and they capture them and arrest them. Like, okay, I don't know how they were able to easily arrest them, but they did. So they capture them, they escape, or they get picked up or whatever, and they're on a Jedi cruiser, and Obi-Wan and Anakin are like, all right, we're going to go talk to the council, tell them what happened. And then Dooku and Quinlan, they're being escorted by Cody and a bunch of clones. And then there's Quinlan's best friend Jedi is Desh. And he's there to help escorting. And then some other random Jedi that they bring in. And they're escorting them to go to their prison cells on this Jedi cruiser. And Quinlan is able to get Desh's lightsaber, like using the Force, frees himself. He frees Dooku, and then they're just kind of like running back to the hangar to get on.
But he kills Desh though.
I'm getting there. They're running.
I thought that was like right away.
No, they're being chased, and so Desh is like, there's no image of his species. I just tried to look it up. Like I'm picturing it as something like he's described as furry, and so I'm thinking he's like I don't know. I picture him as a werewolf, but that's a whole other species in Star Wars. But he's like the only way he can stop his best friend is he has like apparently how I understood it was inside like his bones and stuff. There's like a toxin that will kill anyone. But like if he breaks a bone, like he's able to like take out a acts as like a dagger or whatever, and like by doing that, the poison's gonna kill him. But if he can stab someone or with that poison, they'll die. And so he breaks his own arm or whatever, and jagged arm sticking out. It's like a little thing. And he goes to slash Quinlan as they're running and chasing and fighting, and Quinlan like redirects it, and he cuts himself on his cheek, and then he kills himself. Like he's about to die, and then Quinlan finishes him off with his own lightsaber. Like, it was so sad. Like they're best friends.
Yeah,
because like he's like, the death of this species is kind of like it was kind of like an honor to die.
Yeah, it's like a slow and painful death. So in the book, he was like, he took his life so it wasn't as painful for him, essentially.
That's like what it was like. Did he kill him just to kill him, or did he kill him to like, because you're my friend, I'm gonna stop your suffering,
bro?
Like we don't know. Which was super sad. Cody, he broke a leg or something like that, which a few months later it's Order 66 and he's good to go. So that back to really can heal pretty quick, but while this whole time when Quinlan is running to the hangar, he's calling Ventress to like do a pickup at the hangar. He's like, we're on our way, and she's like, we, like, who's we? Just trust me, blah blah blah. So then she goes up to the hangar. They jump through the thing, and then like they get on the ship, and then that's when she turns around while they're escaping, and Dooku's there, and so he's hurt, he's bleeding, he's whatever, and she's not happy about this, but she has to escape. Like she can't just like, hey, let's talk this through because the Jedi cruiser is about to shoot them down, kill them. So like she's like, what's going on? This is not fair, blah, blah, blah. And Quinlan's like, just trust me. We gotta go. Boom, boom, boom. And so
Yeah.
they go. And then they end up talking, but she's like, I just need you. I can't tell you. Like, I'm still doing the mission. I'm still here to assassinate Dooku, but I need you to trust me because there's some more stuff going on. And she's like super angry about this, but like she doesn't know what to do. Like, she's in the presence of Dooku. Like, she can't defeat him, and Quinlan's clearly not trying to kill him. And from her perspective, so if she doesn't want to die. Like, she's just basically like a hostage in a sense to be like this, to escape the driver or whatever, the getaway driver. And so they go to a comm tower on Christophsis. That's a separatist outpost.
Mm.
And so that's how Dooku's going to get in contact with Darth Sidious to like get help or whatever, to send a ship or something like that. And he goes to do this call like privately, but Quinlan sneaks in before the door closes. And Dooku's like, "What are you doing? You can't be here." And then Sidious goes up on the holo call. So he's stuck in that room, and Sidious can sense him in there without even seeing him from across the galaxy, which is pretty scary. And so he's like, "Who's this guy?" "Oh, he's my new assassin, blah, blah, blah." Real, and Palpatine's like, "I don't believe you. Like, clearly he's someone you're training, but whatever." And so Anakin and Obi-Wan, they're able to track, I forget how they were to track him, but they track him to Christophsis, and they're ordered to like just demolish this, just destroy him, just kill anyone,
Assassinate all of them.
kill them all. Anyone tries to stop you, just kill them. Like, which is like the council saying this, like, holy smokes, like this is not what you're about. But they're like, any means necessary. Kill Dooku, kill Ventress, kill Quinlan, whatever. To kill them all. They can't be trusted. And Obi-Wan's like, no, this is wrong. Anakin's like, okay, no problem. So funny. There was this many times in this book when I was just laughing at Anakin. But yeah, so they're demolishing this comm tower. They're trapped in there. They're all getting hurt. And they're trapped. And then, there's no way in except through the front door that they think. But they're like, well, why would they, have this hidden thing where there's only one way out? So there has to be a back way. So they cease fire. Anakin and Obi-Wan try to find a second way in to like sneak in. And so this is kind of like the whole final scene in a sense of the whole thing where Dooku, he's wrecked. He's like about to die. He's so injured. Quinlan and Ventress, they're like both hurt still, but like they're not totally useless because Quinlan, he goes to like help the droids fight off the clones. And then Ventress is there with Dooku. Dooku says that to Ventress that he's a Dark Lord, like he's evil, like you can't save him, type of thing. And so she doesn't know what to believe. So, but Dooku casting doubt on Ventress. But like she goes to Voss and basically like I was able to turn away from the darkness. Like if I can do it, you can. Like turning from the darkness was the best thing I could do. I chose to do this. Like trying to inspire him because he's slowly getting more and more consumed by the dark side. And while they're like hugging or kissing or whatever, like they both sense something, and then Ventress pushes Quinlan away, like far away, and then she gets hit by Dooku's force lightning, takes the whole brunt of it. When they were both, because they were touching, they would have both been killed probably. And so then they kind of have this moment where Voss was able to redirect Dooku's lightning back at Dooku, and so he gets shocked by his own shock, and he's basically down for the count for a little bit, and so, yeah. So then they have this.
I see what you did there, by the way.
What?
Down for the count.
Oh, I did not mean that pun at all. Count Dooku down for the count. That's kind of funny. I wish I knew I said that intentionally. That would be way better. But Ventress is dying, and Quinlan is embracing her and like trying to like talk to her, and she's just kind of just saying that she seemed to die on a happy note. Like she was happy with, she wasn't consumed by the dark side. She died saving the one that she loved, and that it was like she was at peace with what happened, and that she can go, in a sense, be with her sisters to die, because they're all dead because Dooku killed them all, and so she dies, and it's really sad. And I'm really happy I didn't see this in animated form, because it would have been a really sad scene.
Yeah.
Like I would have been crying. I've been ugly crying, as the kids would say. You might. You never know. If Tales of the Jedi season 2, it's a Quinlan Voss one, we get some of this.
That'd be dope. Or they're in Sith and they get her arc.
Could do a Ventress arc. That'd be fun.
Like after her sisters die, and like her becoming a bounty hunter.
All that stuff
for one episode, cool. and you get her as young when her Jedi Master was killed and she was stolen, like that whole thing too.
Yeah,
that'd be actually really cool.
Yeah.
She had such a cool arc, because like if she wouldn't have died there, like there was so much potential for her to become like they could have easily made her become a Jedi too, which would have been really cool.
Yeah. Which, yeah, it would have been really cool if we could still have her, but she went out on a good note.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, like, why are they bringing like her back for Bad Batch season 3? Because like obviously, if it has to be a flashback, which is fine, so it's not an issue. But I'm like, I was thinking they should have had Barriss, because everyone wants to know what happened to Barriss Offee. She turned to the dark side. She became an Inquisitor. Like, what happened to her after she framed Ahsoka and got discovered?
Yeah, so, they never really say anything about that.
They don't know anything. And it would have been really cool if they brought her back. Like, she's like on the run or something in the Bad Batch.
Or Ahsoka has to get rid of her.
Or something. I don't know.
Dude, she would have been a cool bad guy for the Ahsoka show.
That would have been cool.
Full circle? That would have been dope. Oh, season 2. We'll find out.
We'll see. I don't know.
That'd be cool.
Unless that's the Tales of the Jedi thing, where it's Barriss Offee's story. That'd be cool. I wouldn't mind it. Like, I liked her as a character.
It'd be really cool to see like her interact with Ahsoka again. Why Ahsoka's not part of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. But the last chapter of this book is Quinlan confesses everything to the Jedi Council. And they're like, okay, we forgive you. Come back. Like, what? Okay. But in all of this, Obi-Wan slams the Jedi.
Yep.
Like, he's not mad, but he puts the blame on us. Like, it is our fault that Ventress was killed. It is our fault. All these people...
her death is on our hands.
Her death is on our heads. Like, what happened with Quinlan is all on us. Yep. All the people that got killed as a result of us sending Quinlan on this mission, it's all on us. We failed to be Jedi, and the council's like, dang it, you're right.
Yeah, and it was all because we wanted Dooku to be assassinated. And so, like, that's why later on in episode 3, Obi-Wan doesn't want Dooku to be assassinated. That's why they go there to arrest Dooku, not assassinate Dooku.
Right.
Because they realized that they're not supposed to do that.
Right.
And even in this part too, when they're running away, Anakin's like, yeah, like, okay, they told us to shoot him. Like, let me shoot this ship down. And Obi-Wan's like, no, let's just clip the ship. Like, let's not fully hit it on.
Right, when they were escaping
Mm-hmm.
in the book when Ventress was the getaway driver.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, overall, I liked the book. I thought it was a really good book. Ask your parents if you can read it, if you want to.
One last little thing from the chapter, though. The Jedi did, though, so somehow Dooku escaped. And this whole thing that happened, Obi-Wan and Anakin are watching this whole death scene and everything that happens. Like it says, like they just watched this happen. Like, okay. But somehow Dooku got away. But the Jedi, they take Ventress's body and they like treat it with care. They prepare it for burial. They clean her body. They put her in this dress from earlier, which wasn't really funeral like casket material. Like
it was weird. I don't know how they got the dress.
It was not a modest dress, but they dressed her in this dress, and so Obi-Wan and Quinlan, they take her body back to Dathomir, and he takes her body and puts it in this slime black pool to consume. So like her body would be taken back into the planet to be with her sisters, and so she was laid to rest on Dathomir, which was a very touching.
And like it turned different colors and stuff, and even Obi-Wan was like, I never thought anything on this planet was like beautiful.
And he was like, but like the dark side is beautiful.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
It was really interesting and confusing.
And it's that thing, like, you know, walking that line where you can use the dark side but not be consumed by it was like the whole thing. Like Ventress turned to the dark side, but she was able to escape it and just like tap into it when she needed to, but wasn't consumed by it. And, you know, if Andrew was here, he'd be like, that's what the balance of the Force is to be right in the middle, to be able to use both sides without being swayed to one side. And you see Anakin in Ahsoka's season 1, episode 5, when he's a Jedi fighting alongside with Ahsoka and teaching her, but then when he has to use the dark side to fight her, to teach her something, he's able to do that. And then he goes back to the light side at the very end. Like he's able to walk that line back and forth in a balanced way, and Ahsoka is taught through that balance where the dark side was a good thing in a sense, which, you know, so there's a lot to understand. Like trying to understand the dark side is like confusing, but like this book sheds a lot of light, but also makes it a little more confusing too about what exactly the dark side of the Force is and how it works. Because we kind of get this mentality that like, oh, the dark side is just using the dark side in an evil way, like for bad things. But here it's like the dark side has a mind of its own and it consumes you and it keeps you from making free will choices. This makes you evil. So it's like a big discussion on what exactly is the dark side, what is the light side, how does it all work. This book sheds some light, but also makes it more confusing.
Yeah.
Which is why I like this book, because it's, you don't know how to go this way or that way to interpret a character, why things are happening. It's like a lot of back and forth, not a lot of answers. It's kind of like watching the show Lost. You watch an episode, you get a couple answers, but then you get 10 more questions by the end of every episode. Like, and so I don't know. I like this book. It's a slow burn, like at the beginning, but it gets better and better.
Is it your favorite book of all time so far? No.
The Eye of Darkness is probably my favorite Star Wars book, as I said. Was that last week? 2 weeks ago when we did a book
2 weeks
review.
ago. We've been reading you guys a lot.
But it was still a really good book. But like we said at the beginning of this episode, not kid-friendly. There's some things that are very adult-oriented and for a mature audience.
So ask your parents if you want to read it.
Yeah.
We didn't tell you to do it.
We didn't tell you to do it. But if your parents want to let you read it or read it with you and talk things through with you, good on your parents for being there alongside you. But yeah.
It was a good book.
So yeah, we had to do a love story for Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm.
So a year from now, we'll be doing Lost Stars for Valentine's
Heck
Day.
yeah. Can't wait for next year, Valentine's Day, bro.
Yep.
And then Jeremiah's gonna be like, this is the best book of all time.
I'd be
Best
so
Star
mad
Wars.
if I agree with. I'd be so mad if you.
Best Star Wars book ever. I don't know why it took so long. I want to read it more than once. It's gonna happen, you guys.
You know, the whole love story, like I've said a million times, like love stories have to be meaningful to the plot. Like you can't. I hate stories where just throw in a romance, throw in a love thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like this book here, like it made sense. And
dude, Lost Stars makes this love story look like crap, bro.
Really?
I'm not even kidding, dude. The entire story is so intense.
Yep.
So good, dude.
You're gonna have to give me your login for Audible so I can do the audiobooks and stay longer.
It's so good, bro.
I can't believe they don't have it on. Why they get rid of it?
I don't know what happened with that.
That's so stupid.
I did find it free online today. I was gonna send you a link.
Oh, the audio one?
Yeah, there's like someone has it.
Oh.
Also,
Empire Radio does not endorse the illegal.
Yeah, sure. I'm not gonna say how I found this book online for free as well. The whole PDF of this book was online.
Someone before we did what was that, zombie Dark Troopers?
Mm-hmm.
Someone in the Discord sent me some website had a free the audio version of that.
Oh, really?
And he's like, yeah, here it is if you want to listen to it before. I was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah. But you would have won trivia.
Maybe. Who knows? All right, anything else, Drew, about this book?
No. I don't know. That was it. It was a good book. It was a fun read. You got to know characters and the Clone Wars stuff. And like, there was a part that you mentioned, though. You forgot.
What?
I thought it was funny because Anakin at one point in this book is talking to Padme.
Oh, that's stupid.
I thought it was funny.
It was so random. They just randomly threw that in and it had nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, but it was kind of funny because he's like, yeah, we got him back, but he was in love with Ventress. And he was like, Anakin was like, not okay with that. And then Padme's like, bro, what are we doing? And he's like, no, we're married. Like,
We're different.
It doesn't count. We're different. Like, fool, it's not
Yeah, he was
different.
about to like just bash it and he like caught himself and he's like, oh, we're different though.
Yeah. Like she was like, honey, what are we doing here? Like I thought that part was funny.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Anakin was like the comic relief in this.
He was.
Every single thing he was like, especially at the beginning.
I'll
go. Send me. I'll kill him.
I want to kill people the whole time.
All right, cool. Well, that was Dark Disciple by Christy Golden, I think her name was.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't not have a lot of Star Wars. She has like some short stories for Star Wars that she's done, but like, she is not like a big writer for Star Wars. So
but everyone loves this book. Like online, it's like all 5 stars.
Yeah.
So
cool. All right. Well, let's transition over to everyone's favorite time of every episode, voicemail time.
It's voicemail time.
All right. So, because we're recording a day early, I had to tell people in the Discord to send in voicemails because people usually don't send them until Wednesday, like a couple of hours before. So I had to all right, send in voicemails. And so, because like we need to keep the streak alive because later this month will be 3 years that since Lucy sent in the first one, and we've done we've had at least one voicemail every week for the past 3 years. So that's pretty cool.
We're about to start Bad Batch. And so I expect a lot of you guys to send in voicemails the day of with all of your comments. And
yeah, I'm sure we'll get at least one from Addie.
Probably at least one.
We're excited for a lot of Addie's voicemails during Bad Batch.
Mm-hmm.
But so I sent out the message that, hey, everyone send in some voicemails. So this is the first one that we got. It was from Will. Very, very short. It might be the shortest
Haven't
voicemail
heard
we've ever
his
had.
voice in a while though.
But he had to like keep the streak alive. And so let's take a listen to Will's voicemail.
Don't let the flame die out. Keep the streak alive.
That's it.
All right.
So he sent that one in just to make sure that we continue the thing. But luckily, someone else sent in a voicemail as well. So Will, even though you made that sacrifice to keep the flame alive, our new good friend Owen sent in a voicemail as well today. So let's take a listen to Owen's voicemail.
Hampire Radio, Owen here with another voicemail. So, because tomorrow is Valentine's Day, I got 2 questions for you guys. So, first, what is your favorite romance in all of Star Wars? And second, what is your favorite romance in any movie or TV show, or really any kind of media? Alright, thanks. May the Force be with you. Bye.
Good question.
All right, cool. So, favorite Star Wars romance, and then favorite romance in all of TV and movies. True.
You go first, Jeremy.
I don't know. There's not a lot in Star Wars, if you think about it.
I mean, Anakin.
So you have Anakin and Padme. You have
Obi-Wan.
Han and Leia. You have Obi-Wan and Satine. You have Quinlan and Ventress. You have like
Grogu
Ahsoka,
and the Mandalorian.
Ahsoka and Lux Bonteri. Like they weren't like a relationship. They were kind of
I
like
forgot about that.
teenage
More like Ahsoka
crushes.
and Rex.
No.
Okay, but you also have Rey and Kylo.
No, that wasn't a thing. So it's like you don't have too many. Like I do like Anakin and Padme just because of how important that relationship is to the overall story of Star Wars. Like it's so important, even though there wasn't like the best, like health wise for a relationship. But this one, Ventress and Quinlan was like a good one. Now, as far as in all of movies and shows, like, I don't know, it's hard to say. Like the only one that comes to my mind, like, because I recently binge watched Parks and Rec for the first time. Have you watched Parks and Rec?
Never seen it.
Oh, well, I was thinking like April and Andy and their relationship, which is an interesting relationship, but I don't know. That's just because it's top of my head because I've just recently watched that. You should watch that show, Drew. I think you'd like it.
Everyone says that.
So I didn't realize going into it, but it's the same format as The Office.
I know, and that's why everyone says you need to watch it because I love The Office.
And it's like The Office in that like the first season of The Office is kind of terrible.
And then after that, it gets really good.
But it progressively gets better because the more you understand the characters, the more funny it gets. And so I enjoyed Parks and Rec. That was it was a good show. It was funny.
Have you watched New Girl yet?
No, you told me to do that, and I'm like, I'm just not.
You can watch it, I think. Oh, well, for some reason, it's on Disney Plus, but I don't know if that's like because it's connected to the Hulu account because it's like a bundle. But you can watch it on Disney Plus for me. I don't know if that's for everyone.
I don't know.
A good relationship outside of media, like a different one. That's where I'm having a hard time picking.
You could go Hopper and what's her face in Stranger Things.
That's so cool. I honestly, what's coming to mind for some reason, I think it's because I saw the trailer, but Yang from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh, Aang and Katara?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
It's a good relationship.
it was good. And the thing is, like, we don't really fully get to see it because
Mhm.
they're like 12 years old.
Yeah, they're young, but
But
like
then like you see them in
know,
Legend of Korra, and it's just flashbacks of them like being married or whatever.
yeah. So I think that's kind of cool. That's a cool relationship.
There's so many that we're forgetting. There's like all the shows.
Oh,
movies,
I can't
like
even think of anything right now.
Jack
trying
and
to think.
Rose from Titanic.
Oh God, no. That boy could have fit on that. I don't want to get into that,
Yeah.
but there was enough space. I just want to say that there was enough space there. But in Star Wars, it has to be the Last Stars. Lost Stars. That relationship is my favorite, and
That's
you'll
your favorite
hear it
book,
one day.
so.
It's the best, by far the best relationship in Star Wars. But I'm trying to think. I don't know what other media I'd taken. Oh, I was gonna say like New Girl, like Nick and Jess and New Girl.
From The Office, Pam and
Tim or Jim.
Jim.
But
Yeah,
they have
like-
some rocky at the
well,
end.
that's every
isn't it?
relationship though,
It's
and then
kinda
they
annoying.
they fight through it, and they're good to go.
Yeah, but the
But,
whole thing
like-
in the beginning was really good.
Everyone obsesses over their relationship. Like people
That's
to
true.
this day still want the real life actors to like fall in love and get married. Like so
Aren't
that
they both married to other people?
yeah, but they still want them to like. But so Jim and Pam from The Office, that's like a good contender.
That's pretty good. I think. I don't know. Yeah. Legend Korra one, like our last Airbender one, is pretty good. I like
Yeah.
that one because they're young, but there's like it's still there.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know.
I just started watching the first season yesterday. Again,
You're gonna binge it all before next
I'm
week.
gonna try and binge the first season because
Oh.
the show that comes out next week in 10 days is the first season. Is a 1-to-1
I was like, what am I
thing.
doing next week? And I feel like I'm doing something.
Bad Batch
remembered.
and Avatar: The Last
Yes,
Airbender.
I'm freaking binge watching Avatar. That's what I'm
But
doing.
on that note, thank you, Owen, for that voicemail. But
Yeah.
next week is Bad Batch season 3, and
Mhm.
we were talking before recording that we're probably gonna watch the first 3 episodes because it's all on one day, 3-episode drop, and we're probably gonna do one long episode on all 3 episodes. So we're assuming it's one arc, like one story,
Yeah.
so it'd be easy to kind of like do in one. But I don't know. We're gonna play it by ear, but we're probably gonna do it all in one episode on Wednesday night. So
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm gonna do for reactions, if any. I don't know. We'll see.
And
feel
I
like
don't
should-
know if I'm doing watch parties or not.
Yeah. So
It really depends. If it comes out on Tuesday, then I will. But
yeah, and
if I don't, you should do reactions then.
yeah, because like I've heard. So we got the early like reviews for the first 8 episodes. Like some like critics and people are able to do like very brief like Twitter like reviews or whatever, where it's just like a short 150 characters or whatever. But it seems like people are really impressed by these first 8 episodes, and so like
How many
that's good.
episodes are in this season?
There's 15 episodes, so they were able to watch like the first half. So like usually like that
Mhm.
halfway point, something big happens or whatever. So
I'm assuming these
excited.
first 3 episodes are an arc.
yeah, and so if all these episodes are really good, if they're saying it's a really good story, really focused, there's not any filler episodes, like maybe I should do reaction videos. We'll see. I'll mess around with that maybe.
So stay tuned to our YouTube if you guys want to catch that stuff. And also join us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Empire Radio if you want to catch watch parties and other fun stuff live like the podcast. It'll be on Wednesdays, the day of Bad Batch gets dropped. So make sure you guys watch it before the podcast because we're gonna break down those episodes every single week as long as the show is going.
11 straight weeks.
11 straight weeks. So make sure you guys stay on top of it, do your homework, and watch it before the podcast. You guys can catch that stuff live if you guys want to, or whatever platform you guys are on, make sure you guys watch it or listen to us over there.
All right. Cool. So yeah. So if you want to get, like we mentioned, some of the things to get connected to YouTube and Twitch, but also there's all kinds of other ways to get connected to us here at Empire Radio. So in the description below, links.co/Empire Radio, links spelled with 2 I's. Click that link, landing page for everything. So yes, YouTube and Twitter, but there's also to join the Discord, the invite, join the Discord. Because when there's new shows, we got specific channels for all different shows. And when a new show comes out, people are always talking about it. So there's a Bad Batch channel. And if you want someone to talk about Bad Batch with, if you don't have any other nerdy friends to talk about Bad Batch with, join the Discord. You can talk about every episode, all the spoilers you want in that channel, and make some new friends while in the making of doing that. So go do that. Join Discord. If you want to send a voicemail, click the link to send a voicemail. Keep the streak alive.
Send us a voicemail about the Bad Batch.
Yeah. And there's also Instagram and Facebook. Go check us out there. Fan email, if you need to send us an email for any reason, go do that. And the link for needlesslynerdy.com, which is an entertainment network that we're a part of. So go check that out if you like nerdy content. And that is everything.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. Anything else, Drew?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Well, everyone, we'll see you next week for Bad Batch. But until then, you've been listening to another booktastic episode of Empire Radio. I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Drew.
And may the Force be with you.
Always.